Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. We are doing another speed build today in the world of Henford-on-Bagley, and we're actually building a beautiful cottage called Olde Mill Cottage, which is going to be using the two new packs that were just released on the 13th of November called the Modern Retreat Kit and then the Garden to Table Kit. So I used both of them throughout this pack, kind of like a mixture of some of the items, not all of the items, only because some of the items were a bit too modern for this particular style of home. However, the home still does have some modern elements to it and some modern flair, but I didn't want it to be like ultra modern, if you know what I mean. Like I didn't want it to be too modern. So there's a nice balance of modern with the design of the cottage, but overall we will do a proper ultra modern build using both of the new kits. But I wanted to do a nice cozy little cottage bed and breakfast kind of thing. So that is what we're doing today. Though I do want to quickly mention that the lot actually isn't set as like a custom venue. So you'll have to set that yourself. But right now it's just a residential lot and that's how it's shared to the gallery. But if you wanted it to be a bed and breakfast, it totally could. There is 4 bedrooms and 2 bathrooms total throughout the house. So it's quite a large house to be able to have that functionality. And I absolutely love how the little like side yard turned out using some of the garden to table items, including the new pergola. But as far as the exterior, I kind of went back and forth with what it was supposed to look like. I kind of changed the stone a couple of times. I thought it was too much stone at first, and then I'm like, I don't really like mixing these styles, so I just went back to the stone. I also flip-flopped a lot with the window styles and everything because I wanted some more modern looking windows, but then I also wanted these windows with the shutters, which I believe are from Adventure Awaits. So yeah, I was just kind of torn between some stuff, and the roof, I flipped back and forth so many different times, some textures, but I finally settled on this color because I feel like it complemented the stone quite well. We do also change the siding to the lighter color here, and this little bump out is actually a door. It's door to the kitchen, but also there is a small bathroom as well in there, which is accessible from the first floor bedroom or one of the bedrooms of the house. And then there's the bump out on the back of the house, which will become a dining room. At first, I did make it a like extra seating area, but then I realized there's no place for anybody to eat, and I don't really want Sims to eat on like the living room furniture, so we do fix that. I did use the new modern fireplace that came with the Modern Retreat Kit, which I absolutely love it. I'm going to be using it so much in a lot of speed builds. I just love the simplicity of it. It's just it's like a wide fireplace, but it's also just very clean. Very simple. I love the color options with it, so it's really nice to use. And I'm just figuring out the floor plan right now, but we will get into placing objects and things like the fireplace and stuff. But just figuring it out. And so yeah, upstairs there are 3 bedrooms. There's 2 smaller bedrooms and then 1 larger bedroom, which I would consider like the primary bedroom. The first floor bedroom, I wouldn't really consider that as like a primary bedroom. Although if you wanted it to be, you could make it a home office. If you actually wanted to live here, you just take out the bed. And it has its own bathroom, so that's kind of nice, I guess. Could be nice. The dormers on the roof level are not accessible and not functional. They're just painted the same as the exterior stone. And I did put some lighting up there, so that way at night it kind of looks like, it is accessible, but it's not. I didn't want it to be accessible, at least not for this particular build. We do change out the windows on the bump out at the back because I felt like having the vertical windows was just too much, so I went for these like wider base game ones. No, actually they're not base game. They are from Adventure Awaits. So I mixed a couple of the different styles. So I used like windows without the shutters, but then also windows with the shutters, and then just a variety of different things. But yeah, I believe they're all from Adventure Awaits on this particular build. Trying to figure out the roof here because there was a weird glitch with the like overhang of the roof, but I realized it was because of the platform, because the bathroom which is like half of that room is built up on a platform. And yeah, if you just left it overhang a bit, it was fine and didn't show that. We are now using the garden to table items to create a nice little outdoor space or a side yard. There's this new barbecue grill. There's a sink. There's like little like surfaces here. There's a bunch of little like potted plants here. So you have like vegetables and potatoes and all kinds of things. There's also like a bowl of eggs. I believe that came with Modern Retreat, but I could be wrong. But I'm just kind of figuring out and placing around a little bit of clutter and a little bit of different objects and stuff out here to make it really nice. And if you do want to grab this speed build, it is available on the Sims 4 gallery. Here's the gallery listing. It's just called Olde Mill Cottage. Wow. Olde Mill Cottage. Try that again. And yeah, my EID is just TheSimified, so you can go grab that as well as other creations on there. But yeah, we are almost finished with the side yard. I do come back to proper landscaping. I kind of did a couple of bushes out here, but we will change that out as well. And I do put potted planters out here as well, so your Sims can actually garden if they want, which I think is so nice. And it kind of makes sense having like some of the decorative like pots with the vegetables and things around from the garden to table. It's like, yeah, that's kind of perfect. So yeah, just using the new ceiling lights that came with Modern Retreat. They're kind of like a square. And when you are at ceiling level, which we may see in the screenshots, I believe I captured it a couple of times, you'll actually see like the light stick through. I think this actually looks much better than like the normal like game saucer lights. I don't know, they just seemed, this seems a bit more, I don't know, cleaner, but also like it just looks better having them kind of stick down a little bit off the ceiling. I don't know. Maybe you'll see what I mean and you know, let me know what you think. I am using this new painting, which was added in a recent game update, which I thought was really nice. I kind of put it slightly above the fireplace, kind of like it's just resting there. And then there was this new plant here. I believe it's like an aloe plant that has like a flower on it or something. It's not meant to sit on the fireplace, but using move objects and raising it up a little bit, it sits on there perfectly. And I thought that's like a perfect place to have it. And I did angle the TV a bit. I didn't want it above the fireplace. I kind of wanted the fireplace to be like its own focal point. And I just wanted to still have a TV. Figuring out curtains, I ended up going with cottage living curtains. And as far as packs for this build, I only used 6 in total. The 2 new kits and then a couple of expansions. I think Adventure Awaits, Cottage Living, and there was one other one. And then maybe another kit in there. Oh yeah, Dream Home Decorator. Yeah, I used that for the countertop stove top in the kitchen because I didn't want a regular like stove oven. I wanted it to be kind of a little bit more modern in the appliance world, except for the fridge. I kind of like mixed a bunch of different styles with that. We are now doing doors into all of the rooms, including upstairs. I'm trying to figure out the layout here, but I did alt place them that way. They weren't like in the corners of the rooms. Like I wanted them to be a little bit outside the corners. And then deciding on beds, I ended up using the cottage living bed, but in a couple of different colorways. And then I used this bed here twice in the other rooms for just for other bedrooms, I guess. Figuring out a side table here and a lamp. I think I changed that lamp. No, I changed the primary bedroom lamps here. I used the new lamp from the Modern Retreat kit, which I really like that as well. But I used the new lamp that came with the recent game update, which has like a more simple swatch, which I think was quite nice to use. This is the small bathroom. Like it's just a toilet and a sink back here. It's not a shower or anything. So it's really more like a half bath. I did think about making it accessible from the kitchen, but then I decided not to because then I really wouldn't have been able to kind of keep it to the bedroom itself. But also like if I had to add another door, it's like, I guess I got to put the toilet over by the sink and kind of shuffle that around, but it would have just felt kind of small. So deciding on colors was also a bit tricky, but I went for more neutral colors in the end, kind of like a neutral pastel color. I went flipping around a lot between styles, and I thought I was going to do the bathrooms in this kind of like style, and then I'm like, no, I don't like it. We do change that out for something a bit more simple. And I do swap out the sink as well, because in the end, I didn't like the modern sink that I used on the first floor, and I wanted it to feel a bit more of, cottagey and less modern, but still have some modern, like the mirror above the sink is like, I would consider that modern, but yeah, I don't know. I just wanted certain things to be less modern, if that makes sense. Yeah, now I'm trying to figure out the bathroom situation and what I want them to be and what I want them to look like. But in the end, I just went for a plain white wallpaper because I felt like that just went well with the tiles. But I did do a like wood paneling kind of accent wall, at least in the one bathroom. Or maybe, no, I did it in the upstairs as well. So it just kind of carried over the wooden slats that you see basically throughout the rest of the cottage, except for in the bedrooms, but basically all in the main living area there. The bedrooms are actually pretty simple. Again, my whole focal point for this was to be a bed and breakfast, so it's not really like a home that you would live in permanently. So I didn't like overly clutter it or decorate it too much because it's meant to be more of like a vacation or kind of like a custom venue kind of thing. So it does have pretty much everything your Sims would need apart from a computer. But again, you're not going to be doing that if you're supposed to be vacationing. Though I guess you could if you wanted to. You could easily add a laptop or something if you really want to do that. I brought in more of the plants from outdoors, but I did leave a couple of the little like leaning ladder rungs kind of open there. And I did clutter up the shelves. This is when I realized we didn't have a dining room. And then I'm like, oh, what am I going to do? Because there wasn't really any space for a smaller table. So I just plopped in this longer table and kept it pretty simple in here. But I still like how it turned out in the end. And we're just putting some of the vegetables that came with the kit over by the sink there. But there's still plenty of countertop space for your Sims to actually prep meals properly. And just putting some aprons there. And then we're putting a coat rack and hat rack by the back door there. And yeah, just kind of finishing up here in the living room and trying to find some more plants or just something to put on the upper shelves there. So I did this basket, but I kind of alt-placed it a bit so that it could be on a different, like it could actually be on an angle instead of just being like straight in there. And then we put some clutter in the bedroom, but again, not overly cluttered or anything like that, because again, it's meant to be a bed and breakfast. So just trying to figure out what kind of plant I want to use up there, but I did. And then pictures, I do actually come back and add pictures later. I believe I do that off camera when I was finishing a lot of the landscaping off camera. So you will see in the screenshots potentially that there is some more pictures. And of course, if you download it from the gallery, there will be more photos on the walls. But again, it's pretty simple, pretty bare bones, but that's the whole point. It's a rental home essentially, and not really like a full-on living house. But yeah, I do hope you're enjoying it so far. Do let me know what you think of the kits. I do really like both of the kits. I think they actually work well together. A lot of the elements and a lot of the objects and stuff mix well together from both Modern Retreat and Garden to Table. But I feel like Modern Retreat, well, it's very versatile and you could use it for a lot of things. Like, I mean, I did use it in a bit of this cottage here, but I feel like it's more for ultra modern homes and like ultra modern kind of style houses. So I do want to do one of those, and I've been itching to build an ultra modern house. So it's been a while. So yeah, I think we're due for a nice ultra modern build. So yeah, if you have any suggestions for anything that you'd actually want to see for like an ultra modern build, please leave a comment below and let me know, because I'm always open to suggestions of any kind of builds that you would like to see. But also just like a style, like, do you want to see like an all glass house, or is there just something specific about like an ultra modern house that you would like to see? I'm just kind of curious. Or if you have like a floor plan or something, that could also work. I'm also good for those, because sometimes I do struggle with floor plans and kind of coming up with floor plans and trying to figure out how things should look. So it's always helpful to have those things. So yeah, feel free to leave your suggestions below in the comments. We are nearly finished. Oh, I did do the landscaping on camera. I think the only thing I did off camera was terrain painting, which you really can't notice a whole lot except for like the stone around like the little entry points there at the side fence, and then of course the front door. But this is the finished Olde Mill Cottage. Again, you can find it on the Sims 4 gallery. My EID is just TheSimified. I did add those string lights. They are from Businesses and Hobbies. I just added those to the pergola, just kind of hang there just for some more exterior lighting there, because it was kind of dark under the pergola on that side, but I didn't want to do like a lot of different lights around it. So I thought that those were perfect, and even though they look a little silly if you look at it like really closely, if you stay far enough away, it doesn't look as bad. But this is the living room and the living space, and then we move around to the dining room here, and then into the kitchen, and then we kind of get a view of the bedrooms and back to the outside. But this was a nice little quick speed build. I liked using the new kits. And yeah, I'm also doing a giveaway over on Instagram. So if you are interested in entering that, I will put a link in the video description below, but I will also pin a comment with a link to the giveaway. And that's going to run until November 22nd, 2025. So feel free to enter. It's free. And I'm giving away both kits. So yeah, but that's all I had for this speed build. I do hope you enjoyed, and I do thank you for watching, and I'll see you very soon with another build.